Greetings everyone, my name is Pavos Terma and today we will discuss the most important and most threatening news of this day. Lloyd has arrived in Kyiv for secret talks with Ukraine's leadership, allegedly what the answer will be for sending North Korean troops to Ukraine. The talks will be private with no telecommunications. The Americans are cautious after the latest leak about Israel's military plans to answer Iran for the ballistic barrage. The visit of Secretary Austin will also serve as a moment for him to step back and look at the arc of the US-Ukraine relationship over the last 2.5 years of war, a senior defense official in the US said. CNN quotes that. The Ukrainians are in a very tough situation against the Russians heading into winter, the official noted. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin also announced a new $400 million military aid package at the meeting with Zelensky. Despite the West's response to Russia's aggression, sanctions, military assistance to Ukraine, Russia is ramping up its military machine, and the bombardment is daily. Shelling of mostly civilian objects with Iranian Shahed drones and Korean missiles. And the cost of shells from North Korea is reportedly 10 times less than Western-produced 155mm shells that are supplied to Ukraine. Iran and North Korea have joined Russia's war against Ukraine and against the West.
Putin has not achieved not one strategic objective that he set out to achieve. Kyiv is still stands. The Ukrainian government did not fold, and I could name a number of other things, but they have been very, very successful. You've heard me say a number of times that I think any kind of nuclear saber rattling is reckless and dangerous, and we would call upon Putin and others to not employ that kind of language.
Well, what Secretary Austin is up to, we will see. Let's hope that these talks will be productive and finally the decisions required and asked for him will be made. New escalation or not, North Korean troops are intended to go and storm Ukrainian positions. About 11,000 soldiers are training in eastern Russia to take part in the war against Ukraine, the head of the Ukrainian intelligence Kyrylo Budanov has said.
In eastern Russia, about 11,000 North Korean soldiers are training to take part in the war against Ukraine. They will be ready by November 1st. The first 2,600 soldiers will go to the Kursk region of Russia, where Ukraine has created a foothold, and it is not yet known where the rest of the North Korean troops will be sent. We don't have a complete picture right now. Kyrylo Budanov, head of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine.
A video of soldiers from North Korea has appeared on social media. Eyewitnesses filmed the exercise, presumably at a training ground in the village of Sergeyevo in Primorsky Krai. This is 35 kilometers from the border with North Korea. According to South Korean intelligence, 1,500 troops have already been transported from North Korea to Vladivostok by 4 landing vessels and 3 escort ships. The next unit is expected to be transferred soon. In total, Pyongyang plans to send 12,000 soldiers to Russia's war against Ukraine. The head of the Ukrainian intelligence said that North Korean troops will use Russian equipment and ammunition. And their first batch of 2,600 soldiers will go to the Kursk region of Russia, where Ukraine has set up a foothold, and it is not yet known where the rest of the North Korean troops will be sent, Budanov said. South Korean authorities reacted to that.
North Korea's involvement in Russia's invasion war is a violation of UN resolutions and should be condemned as an illegal act by the international community. Furthermore, it poses a serious threat to our national security and the safety of our people. We strongly condemn North Korea's actions and sternly warn them to halt immediately. Our military will take all necessary measures to safeguard the safety of our people.
On 14th of October, Zelensky said that the PRK was actually entering the war. He also said that North Korea was not just transferring weapons to Russia, but was actually sending its citizens to fight in Ukraine in the Russian army. The Kremlin dismissed these allegations as fake news. On the same day, Russian leader Vladimir Putin submitted for ratification to the State Duma the text of the Russian-North Korean Strategic Partnership Agreement, which the two countries have signed in June 2024. So the cooperation and alliance between dictators continues to flourish. And to the question of escalation and fears of it. Germany has long opposed Ukraine's NATO integration, despite the open talks now that Ukraine's joining, I quote, is inevitable. We still hear expressions from the German Chancellor that Ukraine joining NATO would threaten Germany with an open conflict with Russia, and the position on Taurus missiles have not changed. And today I will interview Mr. Andreas Umland, an expert in German politics and many more questions at the Stockholm Centre for Eastern European Studies. Hello and welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Greetings. And Mr. Umland, my first question will be whether, in your opinion, there are political conditions under which Chancellor Olaf Scholz would be forced to give the go-ahead for the Taurus missiles. I'm not saying the direct transfer, but the go-ahead, like the agreement to use them.
So far, I think there are no signs that indeed Scholz will give such a permission and that these cruise missiles will be actually delivered to Ukraine. Neither from Germany nor from other countries, because even if other countries would want to give it to Ukraine, Germany would have to agree to that. And even that seems to be so far not possible. My suspicion is that as long as Scholz remains Chancellor of Germany, such a permission will not be given by Germany.
And we are seeing a political discourse in Germany actually going on. The Chancellor opposes Ukraine joining NATO, as far as we know. Maybe other politicians have a different opinion on this.
Yes, there is a range of opinion even within the current coalition, which consists of three parties: Scholz's Social Democratic Party, the Green Party, and the Free Party of Germany, the Liberals. So they have different views on that. The Green Party is perhaps the most pro-Ukrainian party. But in any way, I think the accession of Ukraine to NATO, as long as the war continues, it doesn't look very likely to me anyway, because one would have to have the agreement of 32 member countries of NATO, and it doesn't look to me so far very likely. Maybe the question will be for next year whether Ukraine would already receive an invitation to NATO rather than the immediate accession.
And German politicians seem to be far too cautious in the question of projecting force against Russia. Why are they so afraid of it? Maybe there's some inside reason for this.
Well, they are so afraid of this because they are afraid of Russia. There's also sometimes the suspicion that there are economic interests or still sympathies for Russia. And perhaps there are also these factors. But I think the by far most important factor nowadays is simple fear of Russia, sometimes also simply called in English with the German word Angst, a sort of panicking fear that sees a delivery, for instance, of the Taurus missiles to Ukraine as the start of World War III, perhaps even of a nuclear war. And that's why there is so much resistance in Germany against delivery of these weapons or Ukraine's accession to NATO as long as the war continues. But otherwise, Germany still is relatively pro-Ukrainian, and the Russian Federation has lost its reputation. So this has less to do with the war, actually, but more with the threats that are coming from Moscow.
And maybe the final question or opinion for you, and from you, about the Ukrainian-German relations. How do you view them right now? Maybe there should be some differences and different approaches from the Ukrainian side, or maybe Germans could ramp up their support in other formats. What's your opinion on the German-Ukrainian diplomacy right now?
It's a difficult and ambivalent relationship, and therefore also a complicated diplomacy, because Germany, in spite of these resistance against delivering the Taurus missiles or Ukraine's accession to NATO during the war, there's still significant support from Germany for Ukraine, not as much as one would hope, not as much, let's say, in terms of the percentage from the GDP as there is from, let's say, Denmark or Sweden. But there's still support for Ukraine, including also military support, including also heavy weaponry, and also the German public opinion, although it is unfortunately so far against delivering Taurus missiles, is still in its majority for supporting Ukraine militarily, and a significant part of the electorate is even for more supporting Ukraine than currently.
Thank you very much, Mr. Umland. That was a nice talk, and we hope that Ukrainians will understand Germans more, and so the Germans will understand the threats that are coming up from Moscow, and Ukrainians who are safeguarding actually Europe from those threats right now. Thank you very much for being with us. And that's all for today, folks. Hope you like our wrap-up format. Be sure to comment in the section below and share this video to show Ukraine's point of view on what is happening in and with our country. Thank you and stay safe.